I've looked at the slate like a zillion times. I presume you have.
Yes.
So
but I waited all of those to be the last day.
yeah, well, you know what? That was required, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess the first thing I wanted to I have up here, by the way, what's currently the version of the 2+2 lineup. And there's one kind of weird one in there that we'll talk about. But remember that there's a lot of swapping that can be done at 4:30. There's also some stuff that could happen that could make some 4:30 plays maybe a little better than others. And we'll talk about that. But first of all, let's just go game by game, I guess. So before we just dismiss the Jets New England game, I want to talk about this one for a second because
you want to go game by game, or you want? I actually think this is a tough slate to go game by game, but we can do it.
I think we can totally do it.
Okay.
So my point is that I do have two opinions on this game. And the first of which is that I really like Ty Johnson. Ty Montgomery is obviously going to be the real chalky 4K play, but someone's going to have to really explain to me.
Yep.
I mean, look, I don't want to get into a half-hour debate, but you have Ty Montgomery who hasn't done anything in 3 years, and you have Ty Johnson who's actually done something when he's given the opportunity, and they're both in a very identical role almost in being like really the only running back there. And I would actually venture to say that actually Montgomery, New Orleans might have the tougher matchup. I think Carolina's got a better chance to be trying than New England. I think New England's completely caved in. And I think that the first time the Jets played New England, when they had Joe Flacco, they basically shredded New England and lost on the last possession. So I actually like Ty Johnson as a pivot. I'm not going to get away completely from Ty Montgomery, obviously, but I'm going to have, just so everybody knows, I'm going to have a full 20% of him on DraftKings on Ty Johnson. And the other –
I have Ty Johnson at 45% right now.
Oh, well, there you go.
So,
and then the other opinion on this game is I actually like the Jets defense quite a bit.
I'm totally with you. If there's a pivot off of the Browns D, the Jets would be my preferred one. And that's basically – I'm basically using three defenses, the Jets, a little bit of the Titans, and Browns. Only the Titans when I literally needed the extra 100.
I agree with absolutely everything you just said. Right. So we have nothing else important from that game, right? Okay.
Jamison Crowder, even with the bad weather, the PPR upside for him, I think, is there. So I would play a little. I actually have him like 10%.
Okay. So there are a couple of games that really intrigue me and that I want to be stacking. And the first one is the Minnesota-Detroit game. I think neither of these teams can stop anybody. I think that Stafford, not demanding to play, they really wanted to play, and I think that he's going to. I mean, you talk about motivation, you talk about people that really want to have a good game. I think he's going to come out slinging, and I like him a lot. I like what's his name, Hawkinson. I like Marvin Jones. And on the Minnesota side of things, Detroit hasn't stopped anybody in 100 years either. And I actually don't like Madison as much as the receivers. Now, Justin Jefferson's going to be chalky, but he's going for a couple of records too. I mean, he's going for like the Vikings rookie record.
The NFL rookie record, yeah.
And the NFL rookie record. Well, which is very close. I mean, because they have Randy Moss and whatever. So he's going for that. And Cousins has been pretty good anyway. And so I like that. I like Irv Smith. I like Thielen a little bit. So I think this game is look, there's a lot of games, but I think this is in a dome. Neither team has stopped anybody in like 8 weeks. I think this is a very, very logical game to stack.
Totally agree. I don't have as much. I have like one lineup with Stafford in it because I like some other quarterbacks better. But I do have Cousins in some of my big buy-in stuff. So I don't have him as much in like maybe the Millionaire Maker because I actually think he's going to be fairly popular. Yeah. And I love the idea of just playing Thielen instead if you want to, or playing both of them together. I actually think you can hammer stack this game. I totally am with you on that. I think you can play. I mean, look, we're going to talk about Madison, but what about on the other side playing DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, DeAndre Swift is in my cash lineup. It's in my 2+2 lineup.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now that's actually, I like that. That's bold. That's a good one. I like that a lot.
So you want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Miami Buffalo, I had nothing. The only thing I would say is that watch this game because if in fact I'm pretty sure that if in fact Buffalo somehow plays their guys and wins, I think it makes Derrick Henry almost a throwout. at 4:30. If Tennessee has it wrapped up by 4:30, I think I would have literally no reason to play Derrick Henry at 9K. So or 9,500, so whatever. So that's the only thing I'll look at from this game. I didn't have any individual plays. What about you?
I'm confused. Wait. So you're saying, but they still have to dodge the other one, right? It's not just this game, right?
No, but I think it's also.
Did I get mixed up here?
Is the Cleveland too?
Yeah, but no, that's also the morning one. Let me see real quick because I actually don't. I had them as. I think it is. I think it has to matter, right? Like, let me just look at my standings here. Oh my goodness, I have to do this again today. Okay, let's see. It should. I think it has to matter because there's the other. It's the Dolphins, right? No, wait. Yeah, because no matter. Oh, the Colts. Yeah, the Colts. That's the other one. So Derrick Henry will have. Yeah, they have to try and win the division and get into the playoffs. If the Colts win and they don't, they could still end up on the outside if the Browns, Ravens both win, which they should. Right.
There was something with the Titans where they maybe it was in a 4:30 game. I got to do a little more homework on that then.
Well, we can always I mean, the thing is, you can always pivot over and just use one of the cheaper running backs and then go and play, Devontae Adams at wide receiver. You can make a lot of these decisions later, so we can figure that part out.
All right. So, do you have any? You like anybody from this game or no? Miami Buffalo.
Yeah, I actually think that the overlooked guy is Gesicki. I don't really know why he's being overlooked the way that he is. I think that he's going to get it more than his fair share of work. I like him very much. The problem is I'm mostly spending way down at tight end. And I actually think that you can take a shot. I don't feel good about this at all. But if Buffalo really is out there to try and win it, I think they are. Take a shot on either John Brown or Gabriel Davis. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
Baltimore, Cincinnati. One of the things I was gonna do this week that I decided not to, I might end up doing it anyway with a couple of lineups. I was gonna do a couple of onslaught lineups. I was gonna do one with Baltimore. I was gonna do one with the Colts. We'll get to that one a little bit later. I ended up just not doing it. So I really didn't have anything from this Baltimore Cincinnati game in the end, except for some Ravens defense.
Jackson and Andrews, I have about 25% of that combination in my lineups. Okay. I think Lamar Jackson goes nuts today. I actually am tempted to play him alone. He's 90 yards away from breaking 1,000 yards again. They obviously have something to play for. They need to win. Even if it's just – look, they've had some teams come back on them late in games this year, even though they've ended up destroying them in the end. But, I just think they're going to lay the hammer down. When they win big. And I think we're going to see Lamar Jackson have a monster day. So he's one of my – 3 main quarterbacks, I would say. Yeah, 25% makes him one of my 3.
So Titans have a lot of pass. They travel to Houston really, really quickly. They made it come to the house. They could, if Titans win or Colts lose to Jaguars. Okay, that's one thing. But
they win the division. They get a home field playoff game, which may not sound like much, but you actually do have fans still in Tennessee. So
that's true.
I think they're gonna go out today. I really do.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's go to the next game, I guess, then. Pitt Cleveland defense. And I thought about it. I really did think about playing some Cleveland guys, like playing like a really low-owned Chubb. Maybe even some 0% owned Jarvis Landry. I mean, I don't know if Pittsburgh's resting all their defensive guys too, but you know.
Half of them, I think.
What's that?
I think about half of them.
Yeah. So I think it's very, very possible. Again, there are 37,000 plays, so I don't know if I'm going to get to it. But I certainly envision a scenario where Jarvis Landry scores 30 fantasy points and then breaks the slate. I mean, it's certainly possible. And Chubb, if everybody's playing Cleveland defense, seems logical to put Chubb in with that also. I mean, I just don't think I'm going to get there. But I'm not going to argue with you if you get 10% Chubb, right, at 0% ownership with 3 touchdown upside, right?
I have exactly 13% Chubb. What I'm trying to do with Chubb is to try and get him into lineups where I'm playing him. I might even end up getting closer to 20% as we're doing the show because I want to play him with Jonathan Taylor or David Montgomery or both. I like sort of pairing all those guys in the same range. just again, you're going to get different by doing that, even though everybody's going to play Taylor and some people are going to play Montgomery. I don't think the people are playing Chubb enough. And I think this is the game where they need to hammer they need to win. They're going to hammer Chubb. I think Chubb gets 25 plus carries probably today. I don't think we see as much Kareem Hunt unless they get down early.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep.
Nothing from Pittsburgh?
We're pretty much on the exact same page so far, which is definitely either a good or a bad sign. I don't know which one.
Nothing from Pittsburgh?
For Pittsburgh, for me, no, I don't think you can play anything for Pittsburgh. I really don't.
Dallas Giants. I was really kind of threatening to play a bunch of this stuff, and then I just kind of like wimped out. I think I might play one or two of it. By the way, I'm looking out the window here.
Yeah,
weather sucks here. I mean, it's not the worst weather in the world, but it's raining, and I don't know, man. Maybe they're just better spots, but Dallas really isn't have a great defense, and I know where the Giants are going to throw the ball. Right? They're going to throw it to Shepard. They're going to throw it to Ingram, and they're going to throw it to Darius Slayton, and yeah. So if you want to get a certain percentage of this game, I'm certainly not going to kill you for it. I'm probably not going to get all too much of it. The only guy who stands out, again, he's going to be chalky, but right now he's in my cash lineup, is going to be Evan Engram at 3,700 at tight end. But aside from that, I mean, again, it's a 15-game slate, so I'm gonna say that you could play this game if you want to. It matches that idea of both teams going to be playing all their guys, and Dallas playing their starting defensive guys is actually good for the Giants. Right? So I think both these teams have good, you're going to get their best, whatever that means, out of these two teams. So yep. I think that this is definitely a game where you can play the main guys from both sides.
I agree. I'm not going to do it. I think that playing the weather game in this situation is probably not the most optimal thing, but I have 20% Everett Ingram. And honestly, if I wasn't even spending down a little further at tight end, I would have even more of him. So I'm okay with it. That's where I'm at.
Okay. A couple of optimals, whatever, which were trying to force me to play the Dallas defense. I'm not doing that though. But you might see some kind of like sneaky ownership going to Dallas just because of that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's possible.
All right, so a couple of little tidbits from the Tampa game for those that weren't aware of this. We didn't talk too much about this. I don't know how much there is, but with respect to different incentives, both financial and otherwise, there are two coming out of this game. One financial, one non-financial. One financial, if you believe that the money matters to Tom Brady at all. He gets like $500,000 if he finishes in the top 5 in passing yards, and he's 5th right now. I don't know what that means. 500,000 is probably a rounding error for him. So I don't know if it's going to make a difference.
What do they need to? They have literally nothing to play for, right?
Yeah, except Arians claiming that he's going to try his best. And the other thing about the other little incentive thing is that
if Arians ends Tom Brady's career and he somehow gets a bad injury on this today, then I mean that's just crazy. I don't think you can play these guys. Yeah.
So wait, hold on. Mike Evans is trying to break some kind of record of most like 1,000-yard seasons in a row or something. He's only like 50 yards away from that.
Yeah, and I think they'll make sure to get it to him. They really love Evans, so even though Brady and him didn't always find the thing, but I don't think I can pay the $7,500 with the.
No. This is what's going to happen. He's going to get the 51 yards or whatever, and then they're going to make a big celebration and pull him out of the game. Sounds
right to me.
Exactly what's going to happen. So I have no opinion on the Tampa side. I'm a little bit interested in playing the Atlanta's only because they're not playing for anything, but I like playing teams that haven't been playing for anything. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get any downgrade from them. They've been doing what they've been doing since they were knocked out like 6 weeks ago. And so, if Tampa doesn't have anything to play for, remember what's harder to do is to play defense, So I like Atlanta a little bit, man. I like Ridley as a really expensive wide receiver. I like Gage again. I mean, I like these guys. So I actually have like way too much Ridley. I think like 25% Ridley today.
It really makes a lot of sense. Actually, I don't think it's a bad play. I didn't get to him, but with my build specifically, But I think that's a good call. I also think that the Atlanta defense on FanDuel at 3,300 is one of my favorite defenses, especially if whatever happens to Brady. But not to mention, these guys have looked nasty lately. They've looked good, and they've been getting pressure. And if you get pressure on Brady or whoever is going to come in after him, they're 3,300 on FanDuel. I just think that they're a really solid defensive option over there.
Anything else?
No, I never think I thought I'd recommend Atlanta's defense, but there it is.
Green Bay, Chicago. Very, very good game, man. I mean, both teams are playing to win. Yep. Rodgers is playing. Well, he probably has it wrapped up already, but he's playing to cement his MVP. And you got both those things going. You're going to see a lot of, you're going to see a healthy dose of Rodgers to Davante Adams. You just are. And the guy projects through the roof. And you know what? Reputation aside, Chicago's been getting shredded. You know what I mean? Like, people have been scoring on them like a will. So, Adams is a really super strong play for damn good reason. Chicago, I mean, likewise, they've been, call him what he is, man. Since Trubisky's been back, they've been freaking putting up points, man.
He's looked good. They've been really running a good offense. Sorry, keep going.
And so you have David Montgomery, who people still love to hate, but all he does is smash. That's literally all the guy does in the last 4 or 5 weeks is just smash. And I'm not I've seen it, man. I've seen Green Bay get run on. And I kind of like him. I'm probably not going to have enough of Montgomery. The other interesting play here is, well, there are two of them. One is Allen Robinson. And you have two things going on. One, you have this like matchup where the cornerback's supposed to be really good for Green Bay. But last time these guys played against each other, Robinson destroyed him. So he seems like a good play. It seems like a natural, correlation with what's his face with Davante Adams. The other guy who I'm not getting to, I don't even know who's going to play, but I was thinking of playing Cole Kmet 3K, but on a 100-game slate, I don't think I'm going to do it. But hey, you want to play Trubisky with Robinson and Kmet and run it back with Adams? I don't know. Is that the worst thing in the world? I don't know. So what do you think? You like Montgomery? You like what do you like here?
Yeah, I'll give you my ownerships real quick on these guys because I'm trying to make a few adjustments as we go. Montgomery, I've got about 15%, not as much quite as I'd like, but it's Jonathan Taylor. I mean, look, we'll get to that in a minute, but I don't know how not to play that guy. Rodgers to Adams, I have 46% Davante Adams on DraftKings and 70% on FanDuel. That's pretty much most of my interest in this game are those guys.
Okay.
Oh, I also like Tanyan as a tight end option.
Okay. New Orleans, Carolina?
Yep.
New Orleans, Carolina, I mean, I have to say, I'm going to come off as being like that guy, I guess. But you got these teams that are playing these must-win games and then getting ready for the playoffs, and you got these guys not taking care of themselves and getting freaking COVID. I mean, give me a freaking break. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's tough to do, but Jesus, man. And it's a weird bit of motivation because Kamara's out for 10 days, so now if they don't win, they don't get a bye, and he's out again. So it's like really, really weird. I will. Here's my comment on this. First of all, I think New Orleans has a big problem this game. I think they're going to lose. I think they might get crushed. That's my weird take of this game. That's one of my against the spread bets here. I mean, there's no Michael Thomas. You have no idea like how good Alvin Kamara is. Like people say, well, Ty Montgomery is going to go step into the Alvin Kamara role. No. Alvin Kamara is the Alvin Kamara. Okay, just because he's a guy who 3 years ago caught balls out of the backfield. You know what I mean? Like, I look, a 4K with probably nobody backing him up. So it's kind of hard to fade Ty Montgomery, but I mean, geez, that's the best I can describe it. I don't really like much from the New Orleans side. I really like to not play Montgomery, but I have to. Carolina, is there something wrong with the 4K guy from Carolina who probably would be 70% owned on another week?
I'm into him.
So he's fine. I like him a lot. And these other guys, man, you go right back to the second best running back on the team is fucking Curtis Samuel. Like he's gonna.
100%. That's the only worry I have about what's his name, about Rod Smith.
Well, don't worry. Play Curtis Samuel. You know what I mean? Like,
That's what I'm doing.
we'll get 10 rushes. We'll get like 8 targets. You know what I mean? Like, we'll freaking let's go.
Every time somebody goes down on that team who's in the running game, he just starts to explode. I mean, it's like a steroid version of Cordarrelle Patterson with what the Bears were missing Montgomery earlier in the year. I love it. I think that's a great call. I really, really like Samuel today.
Okay. What did I miss? How much time Montgomery are you getting in like the Millie Maker?
Ty Montgomery. So in the Millionaire Maker, that's to me like obviously not the highest buy-in that I'm doing. I'm only playing 20 lineups.
Yeah.
I think I actually have him like a little bit more than I want to there.
Yeah.
But I only have him in one. So out of my like 6 big lineups between both sites, I think he's only in one of them. That's basically where I am with Montgomery. I prefer the other guys over him, all things being considered. And I mean, look, there's one incredible pivot potential, and I'll just give that one away right now, and that's everybody thinks Cam Akers is going to play now. We don't know that for sure, and we don't know how limited he's going to be. So Malcolm Brown, who is going to be the massive chalk and is going to be unknown, might be the pivot that we're looking for also. So there's just other guys, even to these cheap range that you can use. We mentioned Smith on the other side of this game. So I have about 20% Smith, about 25% Montgomery. But I honestly, in terms of my actual like high buy-in stuff, he's not going to be very, very used very often there.
Yeah, I will tell you this: like you know what you're gonna see in this game? You're gonna see a healthy dose of Taysom Hill. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna. I will go on the limb right now. I really don't think Ty Montgomery has a prayer of being in the winning lineup in the Millie Maker. I just don't. I mean, he's just going to be way too owned. Just too many passes for him to bust. Too many pivots to get there. You know what I mean? Like how much he really is going to like outscore Ty Johnson like 3 times to 1 or whatever the hell his going. I don't know, man. All right, that's pretty much all I got.
I'm kind of with you, and I actually feel weird about it because, like, I'm trying to figure out a way to get Montgomery. Like, right now, I actually looked at it. I double-checked my lineups, and he's not in any of my top 6 lineups. The one thing that worries me is that he's a good pass catcher, and, I mean, at least, you know, there's always that chance. If they are getting blown out, by the way, like you mentioned, maybe maybe he gets 1 million targets, but I don't think he's going to do it, like, tearing it up on the ground.
Let me ask you a question. And again, I don't want to spend because I can spend an hour on it.
Let's go.
Why is Ty Montgomery a good pass catcher? Because he did in 2017. You haven't done anything.
No, he's a natural receiver. It's going back to his college days.
Right. That's like so long ago. I mean, like
no, but that's how he was used as on the Packers. That's all we've known him to be in recent history. He was a wide receiver in the NFL, and then he converted to running back, and they still used him as a little bit more of a pass catcher than they did as a really every down back.
Okay, so I will also say this: if that ball gets inside the 10-yard line, like it's totally Taysom Hill.
You're right. You're right. I'm seeing it. The only thing that worries me is the number of potential. If they are losing, and I think that's a good chance, like you said, that I think you could end up with like 10 or 11 targets, or maybe even more.
So you want to pivot, play Emmanuel Sanders or something like that.
I like, I don't know why I'm arguing this with you because my lineup's 100% agree with you now. I don't have him in any of my big buy-in lineups right now. So. And I have 50% Ty Johnson. So
now with that said, I mean I do have him in my cash lineup here.
Sure, cash that's different.
Maybe I'm gonna switch it. Nah, I'm fine. Okay, so you want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
So Indianapolis, Jacksonville, same question by the way. Different game script, but hear me out. Jacksonville's got a freaking 4K guy with no competition either, right?
Yeah.
He got like 20 carries or something like that last week. And one thing we noticed from Jacksonville, now again, James Robinson, obviously a really good running back, but even when they've been down this year, they've been getting the running back the ball. So once again, I think that he's totally in play. Now again, the game script is rough, to say the least. And obviously all of those cheap receivers for Jacksonville are in play, with the presumptive game script, right? I mean, like between Shenault, Cole, the other one, the junior Conley and Cole. I mean, they're all in play. They're probably going to be down, and Glennon's going to have to be throwing the ball to somebody. So all they really need is 10, 12 points. So I think those guys are in play. But like you were alluding to, I mean,
a lot of guys, by the way, that we just named.
Yeah, no, that's this is a very important game. I mean, because
no, it's a lot of guys. I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying it's a lot of guys on the Jacksonville side for any of them to be like. I don't feel too strong a conviction on any of them. I have some exposure to some of them. Cole and Chenault being the main ones.
Okay.
I don't really like. Look at what we just talked about. Like, they have three receivers they can throw the ball to. They have the running back who can catch the ball in the backfield. I don't know that it's against a really good defense that we're not better off just playing like Deshaun Hamilton at zero ownership.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay. Am I wrong about the zero ownership? Maybe I should double check my numbers.
You are not wrong.
Okay.
Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor is a complete smash play. Just everything you want. He's been getting the work. He's going to be a 100-point favorite, and Jacksonville can't stop anybody. I mean, it's literally the best. It's the Derrick Henry. He's not as good. You know what I mean? But he's in a great spot. And I'll tell you this: I think the whole Indianapolis offense is in play. Like, I was really thinking of this. I was really thinking of doing a full freaking T.Y. T.Y. Rivers, Pittman, or the other receiver. Play two of them with Taylor, with the Indianapolis defense. You know what I mean? And just play for a 45-0 special. I think that's very, very, very in play, especially coming off of like a pretty bad collapse against Pittsburgh last week. They're going to come out. I think they're mean business. And I think they're going to kick their ass. So that's my opinion on this game. What about you?
I like that. I like that call. Let me grab my notes here because I know we're speeding along here, but I do want to just quickly take a look at this because I think that what I'm struggling with, Sheets, is like I don't like to like lock players in football, and I don't like locking players in anywhere personally, especially if I'm playing multiple lineups. And I am having it feels like I'm really having to go out of my way to not play Jonathan Taylor, and I don't really understand other than maybe making the argument that maybe you could play Nick Chubb instead, and he could outscore him or something like that. But it's really hard for me not to play him. I mean, I don't know what else to say. To me, he's the hardest fade on the slate. He's my highest owned player. I actually didn't end up with as much TY as I thought I was going to. And I didn't end up I had the Jacksonville receivers spread out, like I said, with Cole and Chenault, but I don't really feel incredible about it.
Well, dude, right now, this is where I'm at, man. I don't have him in my cash lineup right now. I'm really thinking of replacing Henry with him and upgrading. You'll see I have a cheap wide receiver in here. And yeah, I mean, maybe just Swift is just not want to say fish play. Maybe I just pay up for Taylor and drop down somewhere else. I don't know.
I think if you're kind of going for it this week though.
Yeah.
So maybe fading him would be a good idea. Honestly, I'm sort of shocked that I know that look, there's a lot of plays, but 23% ownership for him seems too low. I feel like he should be like 70%.
Well, no, it's because of construction. Because you have Ty Montgomery and you can play Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? It becomes.
I know. I get it. I just think I could make an argument that he might actually be a better player than Derrick Henry, straight for raw points.
It's very possible.
It's close.
Speaking of which, let's move on. I think that the Titans defense is a good play against Houston. We talked about that before. I think Derrick Henry is a good play. We don't really need to talk that much about it, honestly. I mean, he's going to be highly owned. He's a good spot. And, if you're playing the Millie Maker, differentiate elsewhere. That's the best I can describe it. And yeah, you could play, the Tannehill, AJ Brown, Corey Davis thing is a little bit of leverage against that. If you want, I'm not doing it. I don't think. And on the Houston side, I hope Watson doesn't get too popular. I don't know about this. I think that Tennessee is going to really hand it to them. I really do. I think it's going to be a bad day for Watson. But he's surprised me in the past. And one thing about Watson is usually when they're down, that's when he's most dangerous fantasy-wise.
Yep.
That's when he gets there the most. But look, I know that he really wants to play. He's got murdered in the last game. And I don't know, man. If people play too much of Watson, they see him just getting taken out of the game in the third quarter. They're not allowed to complain, and that's the best I could. It's the best I can describe.
I'll be one of those people then.
Yeah, I got you.
He's my highest owned quarterback.
Yeah.
I really like. I love him. I love Lamar. I really like Aaron Rodgers, obviously too.
Yeah.
But it's the perfect game script. He's had his best games against this team. The little JJ Watt, what he said about they're an embarrassment. This franchise is an embarrassment to the city and all this stuff. I think they come out going hard today. I think you see Watson to QT or Watson to
Cooks.
with Akins. I think you can play one of the receivers and Akins if you want to. He's one of the guys I'm spending down for at tight end. You can also throw David Johnson in there, who people are probably going to forget about. But this is David Johnson looks awesome. He doesn't look like the same guy. I know you don't look at the actual the rushing totals don't excite you, but he had 11 catches 2 weeks ago in a game with it might have a similar game script. So I really am a fan of David Johnson in some of these stacks as well. I will be stacking it many different ways, and I'm going to play a little bit of I'm not getting to AJ Brown, even though he and Corey Davis are both playing for their 1,000-yard seasons. I like Corey Davis as a lower owned pivot, and he's a little cheaper. So that's the way I would go if I was going to get different. And by the way, you can play those guys. You can play a lot in this game, so you can play those guys together. You can play him with what's his name, which the running back, if you want to.
Jeff Schreiber, I'm getting to this in a minute, by the way. The Mark Andrews break. He said Mark Andrews breaking the slate. Don't get cute. I'm getting to that. So let's move on then. LAC, Kansas City. I had nothing in this game. The only guy I even thought about is maybe some 2% owned Austin Eckler, or maybe that tight end from LAC, that Parham. He's actually pretty good. He didn't get there quite last week, but those would be the only two guys in this game for me.
Parham have 22% and Williams have 20%.
Okay.
I love Mike Williams this week. I think he's a phenomenal play.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Vegas Denver is going to be the cutesy, popular, low-owned game. That's the best I can describe it. That's all I've heard from content this week is now this is going to be the low-owned place to go because of the Denver receivers being so cheap and Drew Lock's going to be flinging the ball over the field. Okay, fair enough. But I wanted to bring up one thing, and Jeff Schreiber, this is kind of my lead into you. So everybody's not allowed to complain if Darren Waller gets 40 fantasy points and breaks the slate, okay, when no one's paying attention. So I know Mark Andrews, don't get cute. Dude, you got in the 430 games. You got both Waller and Kittle, both of whom could do some real damage today. So I do actually like Waller here. I want to ask you about Deshaun Hamilton because I am in the market for a low price wide receiver. What do you think of Jerry Jeudy? What do you think of Melvin Gordon? What do you think of these Denver guys who are going to be the chalky low owned guys? That's the best I can describe them.
Jerry, so let's take a quick look at Judy's ownership because I was having a very hard time not playing him. And then I started finding other ways to. I mean, there's plenty of guys you can play. I don't think he's going to have too much ownership because of the way things
Pants, another good play.
I want 40% Judy today.
Okay.
15, and not in the same lineups, but unless I was going to play lock, which I'm not going to, even though I know other people are. But I really like Judy and I like Deshaun Hamilton a ton. And I think I'm skipping Patrick, but it's not because I don't like him. It's just there's just other plays.
Okay. Anything else? You playing Melvin Gordon?
Oh, I like Melvin Gordon. I just don't find myself getting to him very much. You know what I mean? It's I actually I do like him, but I don't know how exactly to get him. But, I love the Waller call. I think Waller is a terrific play. And I'm just going to take a quick look. Are we really going to have no ownership? With all this value, you'd think people would just wise up and play the guy who can break the slate. Yeah, I think they will. I really like Waller. That's all I can say.
Okay. Now, you mentioned we're going 2 more games. The Rams, Arizona, you mentioned that, there's a certain amount of kind of pivot off the pivot stuff going on with this Akers Malcolm Brown thing. Like 3 days ago, Malcolm Brown would have been 50% owned, and the opening up of Ty Montgomery, plus the news that Akers might be playing, is going to reduce Malcolm Brown, and maybe like you said, Malcolm Brown's a decent play. So I'll let you address that. Arizona. Sneaky, but Christian Kirk is out. And you could be cutesy and play Andy Isabella if you want. You did mention that he was going to win somebody $1 million at some point.
He did already this year.
Maybe it happens today. Or you could be not as cute and just go with freaking Hopkins. I know he's playing against Ramsey, but good luck to Ramsey. You know what I mean? He's going to get 20 targets or whatever the hell he's going to get. And there's that. So yeah, I know the Rams are a tough matchup, but I mean, I don't know, man. Arizona needs to win too. That you don't think they're going to be targeting their top dude. So that's where I'm at. I'm probably going to get a little bit of Hopkins in some lineups, and you can tell me about Malcolm Brown if you want.
So I think Malcolm Brown is really sneaky, but what you do is you just use Malcolm Brown in the flex, and if we end up thinking that in fact Akers is playing, we get the official word, because there's still a good chance 90 minutes before game time we find out Akers is out, and we're going, what the hell were we doing with? We could have played Malcolm Brown. So use that 40, but you could also play Judy in the flex. You could play a million of these guys at 42, 4,300, leave an extra whatever amount to get Brown, and you can always pivot over to Brown if you want to. So I just think he's actually going to be more owned than people are projecting. You know what I'm saying? If in fact we find out Akers is out. So you're not getting as much leverage as maybe we think we are because of how many options there are in the afternoon. But other than that, I mean, if he does go, I think he's a very strong play. I would like to get to more. I actually really did initially want to play a lot of Hopkins because of these guys being out, but I couldn't get there. Kasim Johnson I considered, but I think I really think if you're going to do it, go for Isabella. The problem is, how do I play Isabella over Josh Reynolds, who had 10 targets last week? And it's funny because it totally faded towards Van Jefferson, and I actually think Van Jefferson is more of the long-term play for the Rams, but I think in this particular spot they're going to try and put their best foot forward. Josh Reynolds technically is the receiver too, so it's just, how do I play Isabella over these guys, along with, not to mention Hamilton and all the other ones, unless you want to go just with a bunch of punts. It's hard for me to get there personally.
All right. The last question I have for you. So I am going to encourage everybody to do something. I'm going to do one. So San Francisco against Seattle. Seattle could have that game locked up actually. They might not need that, but
we don't know, because they'll have it. Yes, sir, go ahead.
We don't know.
They'll have a chance at the 1 seed still. It's a very.
I will say this. Okay, so you have George Kittle, who's probably the best tight end in football. It's his second game back, and nobody likes to play more than him, okay? And you have Ayuk out, you have Samuel out. Kittle's now become the number one receiver, and the next thing I wanted to ask you about is Richie James, okay? Right now, he's in my cash line at 3,100.
Oh.
So what I wanted to ask you is this. At the 3,100 level, I could go up to 3,500 at that spot. I could go up to Keelan Cole. I could play Deshaun Hamilton. Or I could go from Derrick Henry down to Jonathan Taylor and then play somebody normal. What did you look at Richie James? I don't know how he doesn't get there. That's my problem.
I kind of am starting to feel you a little bit on this. I have a little bit of him, but I think I might want a little bit more. It does feel a little bit like we're playing roulette with all these guys, but I mean, the work should be there, right? Like, who else are we talking about? And we saw this happen where he had the 13-target game when he had these guys out earlier in the season. Now, they didn't have Kittle at the time.
Yeah.
But still, I think that he's absolutely in play. I don't know about versus those others. I think maybe he is actually one of the better ones, to be honest with you. I mean, personally, I have a little bit more of the Reynolds and Hamilton, but I definitely want to get some I definitely have some exposure to him. And I can sort of adjust my lineups afterwards or later in the day anyway on that.
That's the thing. I mean, I have a lot of ways I can go there. The other thing I wanted to mention is so that's all I had. So there's Keelan Cole at 3,400. There's Richie James at 3,100. There's, like you said, Josh Reynolds at 3,200. The other thing is that this could be a good Jeff Wilson game. I don't know, man. Maybe this is the game that breaks the freaking slate after all that stuff. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. If you play, for example, Beathard with Kittle, with Richie James, and a DJ Metcalf run back, you play whoever else you want and nobody has it.
I think Richie James is going to pick up a little bit of steam. I'm noticing his ownership went up from like 0.5% to like 5% now.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm into that, man. I don't know what to say. I'm not playing.
At least in the late slate. How about that? At least in the late slate.
Yeah. I feel kind of sick because I'm not playing DK Metcalf, and that's probably a mistake. But that's pretty much all I have on this. I'm not gonna play I have like 1 or 2 Carson lineups.
I have this weird feeling that Seattle doesn't have to win in the second half or some stupid stuff that goes on. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do this. We're gonna do this right now.
Okay, let's do it.
We're gonna put Beathard in right here. We're gonna get rid of this Brady lineup. I don't need this crap. Okay, so we're gonna put in Beathard, as I said. Then we're gonna put in Kittle. We're gonna put in Mr. James. Okay. And you can talk about, if you want to, while I'm doing this, you can talk about your overall ownerships again.
Yeah, I'll do that in 1 second. I'm actually making a quick pivot as well. Just really quick. I'll be there with you guys in just a second. I'm just trying to get in. I do want a little bit more Melvin Gordon exposure. I can't believe how bad this Raiders defense has been against the run, and I think we need to get some of that, as we like to say.
I think the Raiders defense is also not bad today, actually.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, sure. Any defense, I'm never going to argue with anybody. Unless they're against the Packers. That's the only time I say don't play a defense. But yeah, man, I think it feels weird to be playing this much. Like I have 2 Denver players in so many of my lineups, and that's sort of what's throwing me off. Whether it's Gordon, and it's mostly just Gordon and Fant, or Gordon and Hamilton, Gordon and Judy, mostly Judy. But I'm getting a little bit more Hamilton love as I go on. I think he's talented enough that he can do it for us today. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say there. I think I'm okay. So our overall ownerships, I do currently have Josh Reynolds at like 20%, and I think that I would like to shift some of that over to Richie James. That's where I'm at with that.
So you think this guy can get Josh Reynolds the ball?
Yeah. I actually think this is an upgrade. There's a potential, I should say, for this to be an upgrade.
From Groff, you mean?
I mean, look, anything's an upgrade. I could probably have been an upgrade from what he's been.
So I might. So I left myself some good flexibility with this Richie James play, because I could change to Josh Reynolds. I could change it to Keelan. I can change to Keelan Cole. I can rebuild with if I could get rid of Henry and go to Taylor and move up to maybe somebody else. So I left myself enough leeway.
Yeah, I think Reynolds is the better play of the guys, I think. But it could, I mean, I could look like an idiot, and it could easily end up being James. This is a really, really hard read to figure out. But look, these are what we want. We want the high variance. So I'm actually into this. Let me just make a few more changes here. I may be a little bit too high on Parham, and maybe it's just because he looks like the athletic freak that we want. And I by the way, I do think that we're maybe missing out on not playing the Chargers passing game, like entirely. I'm starting to think about it more, and I just feel like they love their coach, as bad as he's been this year, even though he seems like a great guy. And I think they're playing for him, and I think we're going to see Herbert going to go. I think it's going to have a big day today. So just Parham, Mike Williams. I wanted to go back to those guys because we didn't really talk about that. And it's mostly just those 2 for me, but Jalen Guyton's also fine as well as Tyron Johnson.
Wait, who's saying this? Van Jefferson is taking over for Josh Reynolds? Who said that?
That was what was earlier what I said, that I think that eventually he will, but we didn't have there's no official thing on that, right?
No, but it's something to keep in mind.
I believe that's the future. I really do. I just think that the way things are trending right now, they're going to put their best, most experienced guys. It's a must-win for them. It just seems unlikely that they would put the young guy in a spot like this in this particular game. And also, Josh Reynolds has had big games against the Arizona in the past.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. And I thought about that. The fact that this is whatchamacallit, might be AP's last game, and the fact that it's also against Minnesota.
Ooh.
To take away from DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Let him come in, let him come in, go for one play, and then have him go out with a ceremony or something, and then let DeAndre Swift win the game. I don't know. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're. I don't know how they're going to end up playing him in this game, but they are. I mean, that's a good point. It does make me less interested in DeAndre Swift, to be honest. I don't know if you want DeAndre Swift in that lineup of yours.
Yeah, maybe I'll get rid of that. So if I wanted to do that, this will be like the last thing that we do. Let's let's go back into this. So if we didn't want to use DeAndre Swift, so in that case, then we could put Taylor and then rebuild somewhere else. So we could go less Marvin Jones. Or you know what I can do? This is what we could do. If that wasn't risky enough, you can go to Stafford. There you go. Bye-bye. Nice and easy.
Wait, Stafford is now your cash. You know what? You're going for it. Let's go for it. Why not?
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Why not?
It's all good. I'm going to win $1.992 million today. It says it right here on my DraftKings on my lobby.
Sounds good. Do you have any FanDuel specific thoughts? I can throw out a few if you don't.
I have a lot of Derrick Henry on FanDuel.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I mean the price makes it a little bit more interesting. But there's
I also, and this could be someone in. I have a lot of Ty Montgomery on FanDuel.
So you're playing more over there. That's interesting because I actually think that, like, for me, I prefer Madison and by a lot. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my point. I mean, like, I think he's going to be like really chalky Madison over on FanDuel.
Yeah, so I'm actually playing Madison and Smith a little bit over there. I don't like. Again, if I think Ty Montgomery is a good play on DraftKings because of the pass catching potential, why am I going to play him on FanDuel for PPR? You know what I mean?
That's why the mad scientist play.
No, I wasn't trying to criticize. I'm just thinking about. I'm just talking for myself here.
Right.
I'm just throwing my own stuff out here. And by the way, I think that anybody's ownership projections on the Browns defense probably can't be high enough. I think it's going to be higher than people think, and it's probably not as good of a play as we all think it is. I like that Jets pivot. I really do. Throwing it out there. I do have a ton of the Browns, so I'm not gonna say I don't, but it's. I feel like I'm differentiated enough elsewhere, but it doesn't feel like the right thing to do entirely. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, sounds good, man. I want to get out of here so I can finish this stuff up. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck to everybody out there. Sorry we didn't answer more QQs. It's a big slate. So
paid, and I can't promise there's going to be NBA today, but you never know. Stay tuned. It's very possible.
We did not. By the way, I just want to clear one thing up before we get out of here. We did not say Van Jefferson is taking over for Josh Reynolds. I think he's the player in the future. I'm not saying that's going to happen today. So please don't do that, Kyle. Please don't. That we definitely did not say that. Somebody else wrote it in chat, I think. At least as far as I remember.
All right.
All right.
Good luck, everybody, and let's go get them.
All right, guys. Good